So right now, Vice President Kamala Harris is just absolutely destroying Donald Trump across all social media and on TikTok. A recent study shows 71% of all of the top posts post-debate are pro-Harris compared to just 24% for Trump. And I'm not even sure that's factoring in some of these things that are just so brutal against Trump. Have you all heard this song that's going viral? I want you to just show you this. We'll show you a short clip of it, but let's play this clip.
Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating.
Now there's thousands like that, maybe tens of thousands. They're getting millions of views each. But I want to bring in Lee McGowan. You know her as Politics Girl. Shows here on the MeidasTouch network. Make sure you subscribe to that as well. Lee, you've redefined the way politics is talked about on social media, and it's constantly being redefined, right? So one, I don't think we ever expected in a debate for a presidential candidate to talk about eating cats and dogs, but then the reaction about how he's trolled is interesting as well. What do you make of the reaction to the debate?
Well, listen, I mean, you're talking about 71% of the posts are pro-Harris. Of course they are. That was a debacle for Donald Trump, right? There's a reason we're talking about this eating the dogs, eating the cats, executing babies out of the womb, doing surgery on transgender people and, making boys, girls in prison to illegal aliens. Like, it's all bananas. So of course it makes for wonderful social media fodder. And I think people should be doing it. I think it's so important to hit Donald Trump in his ego, because that is the one thing he really cannot tolerate. I think making fun of people who want to be dictators is the best way to do it, because laughing at these people shows them that they don't have this power that we think they have over us. I mean, I think that is essential. But I also think that this dog-cat situation takes away from the fact that the things that he's saying, he has no policies, he has no plans, he has no ability to lead the country. I mean, the big thing he said for me at the debate was, if Kamala Harris plans to do all these great things, why hasn't she done them yet? Like, she should just walk down to the White House right now, leave the debate stage, walk down to the White House, very beautiful building, walk down to the White House and sign a bill to close the border. And those kind of comments we're not focusing on, because we actually should be. I mean, this is a man who doesn't know how the government works. And he's running for president, right? So we can talk about dogs and cats, and we should make fun of him. He deserves to be made fun of. But this isn't even just a man running for president. This is a man running for president again. He's done the job before, and he doesn't even understand how the system works.
Let me ask you this, though. So Democrats for a long time, though, have been very wonky, right? I mean, they talk about policy. They have their plans, 10-point this, 5-point this. Very detailed stuff. Donald Trump in 2016 would shout, build a wall, drill, baby, drill, drill, baby, drill. But do you think, though, that these types of viral clips, though, even though they're not the point, they're the kind of gateway into, okay, we're laughing at it, we're mocking it, but let's talk about what Trump is doing and what Vice President Kamala Harris is doing. Trump wants mass deportations. Vice President Kamala Harris wants the masses to thrive as opposed to just the billionaire class.
Yeah. No, I think it's really essential. I also think it's a wonderful way in for the young voters. I think it's a great way for them to think about government, because it comes at a fun point. It doesn't come at a point where everything is doom and gloom and the country's over and what's the point of even trying? I mean, if you even look at the way Trump talks about the country, it's like everything is ruined. We're the worst country in the world. Everyone's laughing at us. We are a failed nation. And then there's someone that's like, I have such hope for America, and we have places we can go, and let's grow this, and everyone should thrive. And so it's like that dichotomy is there as well. I mean, I think that obviously you and I, the people at MeidasTouch, me, we've been working for years. And I think we kind of think the same way. We feel like Trump taking over America is not something that we could tolerate, that we knew America was better than this. And we've worked to kind of fill the zone with a counter message to the lies and the spin and the right wing throws at us every day, but also the mainstream media in their kind of misguided attempt to both sides everything and keep as many eyeballs on the screen as possible is kind of put out there. And I think that the MeidasTouch people and me, we've all kind of had hope when others weren't quite feeling it. And I think because we were immersed in this, I think we've all been able to see early what the country is starting to see now. And it's that the majority of us are not down for this moron. Majority of us are not down for this rising authoritarian nightmare of Trump and Project 2025. And we're willing to kind of fight back now. And if that starts with social media memes where we're mocking him, where we're saying, actually, the emperor has no clothes, then that's a great place to start.
It's like when he says, let me tell you what's happening in our schools right now. You're sending Jimmy home. It's a horrible Trump impression, by the way. You're sending Jimmy to school, and then Jimmy returns with a horrible surgery, and now Jimmy is now a different gender. But look, this is the way that dance went viral. There's thousands of videos like the one I'm about to show you that are going mega viral of families whose main concern is not that Jimmy's going to get a surgery, because that's not happening at schools, but they are worried that Jimmy's going to show up at school and there's going to be a shooting because of the mass proliferation of weapons of war. So this is kind of the catharsis, if we will, and the mockery of Trump. Let me show you this one that's going crazy viral as well.
You imagine you're a parent and your son leaves the house and you say, Jimmy, I love you so much. Go have a good day in school. And your son comes back with a brutal operation. Can you even imagine?
You know, Lee, I want to get your reaction to that, but you just came out with the new book. It's called A Return to Common Sense. It officially is out September 17th, How to Fix America Before We Really Blow It, from the creators of Politics Girl. Again, September 17th, the book is A Return to Common Sense. But, you know, I think there is this feeling now when we see videos like that, we want to be unburdened, as Vice President Kamala Harris would say, and return to common sense. So talk to us about that. And that's kind of the thesis of the book.
Well, yeah. I mean, look at that video. Does common sense tell you that your child goes to school, has a giant operation, comes home? Like, of course not. If we used our common sense, we'd be like, that makes no damn sense. First of all, who paid for that? We don't have healthcare in America. Secondly, no one does that. Like, I want more people to be like, no one does that. What is he talking about? I mean, I say all the time, I don't think people should feel bad if they don't understand how politics works. That is by design, right? What have we been told to not talk about our whole life? Politics and religion. And what are the two things that cause the most problems in the history of the world? Politics and religion, right? So I think if we don't understand how it's going to go straight over our head, right? Like, not paying attention to politics, being someone who says, like, I'm just not that into politics. I mean, that doesn't mean politics doesn't affect you. It means you can affect it. And so I wrote a book to back us up to common sense. I call it a political book for non-political people, but it's essentially a book for us to just reconnect with the American experiment and how it works and what we can do to fix it. Because if you don't understand how something works, you can't fix it. And you are susceptible to absolute BS from people who say things like, this is what's happening in the prisons. This is what's going on in the schools. And you're like, holy hell, I can't believe that. I better stop that from happening. Except if you understood how it works, you'd be like, nope, that's impossible, bro. And it'd be so much easier for us not to be taken advantage of if we knew it. There's a reason Donald Trump says he loves the uneducated. And I'm like, hey, let's not be that, right?
You remember that movie Weird Science? Or for me, it was actually a show in the 90s based off the 80s
stop
movie.
Being so young, Ben. It was a movie for me. Let's stick with the movie.
it was, I'm not, trust me, I'm not also being so young. However, I feel like it's people like you, though, and others who have divined and manifested Governor Walz into existence. Because if I were to say a return to common sense, I could just imagine you putting Weird Science style, the magazines together and saying, all right, you put it through the machine, and then all of a sudden out comes this. Play this clip, Salty.
Read it. Tell your friends, send it to your relative that you're dreading seeing. Get it out to them. Because you know what? They watched that the other day. And I don't hear them out there much. I don't see them out there much. They're a little bit, because they're good people. They're our neighbors. They're like, that didn't look very presidential. Screaming about eating cats is not a solution. It's not a solution. Well, what Kamala Harris was talking about is things that you actually care about. They might not be sitting down at the bar talking about banning books, but they might down there be talking about, how can I afford a house? I'm working hard. I'm working hard. I want to have a house. And because that house becomes a home. To some of these folks, you're a real estate mogul, venture capitalist, whatever, that's just an asset to be traded and sold to whoever you want. For us, it's a place we gather around the kitchen table to talk to our kids about what happened at school. That's what Kamala Harris wants for you. That's what she wants for you.
So teenage boys may have sat around and created their version of weird science, but this is the weird science that America wants, huh?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I would have worn a bra on my head to make this man too. I really felt like truly when this man came along, and he was my choice, I was hoping they would choose him from the beginning. It feels like he cannot possibly be real, which I think is why the Republicans keep trying to find something about him that is evil or bad or weird, or, you know, they tried to make Tampon Tim stick, which is ridiculous because if you know why he did it, you're like, Tampon Tim's an awesome nickname. But I just feel like here's this man who is masculine without being weirdly alpha, who hunts, who shoots, who was a teacher, who was a veteran. He's just a good dad and a great husband, and he believes in the nation. He's not trying to be president. He doesn't have bigger ambitions. He's great. He's happy to be second banana to a woman. Like, he's just, it's like you made him in a lab of the perfect candidate. And he's just happy to be there, and he wants the country to succeed. And he talks to us again in common sense, right? Like, I started the Politics Girl Project. You guys know me. We met way back in the day, right? I started it as a response to no one in my life caring about politics. I could see the country going off the rails, but no one wanted to talk about it, right? I would watch my friends' eyes glaze over when I started to talk about this stuff. They just didn't think it mattered. They didn't think anything would ever be different. It was just like, yeah, you know, American democracy, we don't need to think about that. We were so busy living in a democracy that we didn't work on our democracy. And that left the door open for people like Trump and the Heritage Foundation and the Federalist Society to walk through that door and start messing with things, right? So I started getting out there and just putting into words what people were thinking, or I was thinking what people couldn't quite put into words. And I think that in many ways, it's good to be smart in a way that doesn't make people feel dumb. Like, you're like, oh yeah, that is how I think. And that is a logical way to put it. And why don't the politicians just say it like that? Or why doesn't the media just explain it that way? And I wanted to do the same thing when I went from the rants in my kitchen to the podcast and now with this book, right? I want people to understand how this all works and which direction we need to go so people can never take advantage of us again. We can never get to this horrible place again where we have this moron talking about dogs and cats this close to being the president, or the sycophantic man who is an empty vessel for the richest people in America this close to being the president when Donald Trump, you know, drinks a tainted Diet Coke.
So, Lee, this was our weird science growing up. I'll show you this one. This is your weird science right now in Governor Walz. And this and this is your book, A Return to Common Sense. Lee McGowan, it's really been an honor to have you on this network. We met about 4 years ago, maybe longer than 4 years ago. And it's been an incredible journey together. I want the journey to keep on going. And I couldn't endorse your book more than anything. I mean, everybody, make sure you get it. A Return to Common Sense. It comes out September 17th. How to Fix America Before We Really Blow It. This is a must-have right now. So please pre-order. Get it right now. Lee McGowan, thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks so much, Ben. At the end of the day, I think we should just stop saying we're the greatest country on earth and start trying to be it. Like, look, you're about to have a child. Jordy just had a child. I have a child. And I think our children and these next generations deserve to grow up in the land of the free and the home of the brave and a place where everyone from anywhere can make it if they just work hard enough, right? They deserve that. And we have to be willing to do the work to give them that. So I want people to look at this book, not as some civics book or some have-to book, but like a really hopeful how-to of how to give our future children and future generations the country we tell the world we are.
Let's roll up our sleeves, get to work. You can see the guns, but I'm still believing in the Second Amendment and common sense gun control at the very same time. Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 4 million subscribers together. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.